Every time we open our phones, there's a new crisis. Breaking news, another update, another headline designed to pull us into fear, urgency, and distraction. And if we're not careful, we find ourselves stuck in a loop, doom scrolling, overthinking, and absorbing stress that isn't even ours. This is not by accident. The world is designed to keep you in fight or flight mode. Everything from fear-based media to social pressure to the constant demand to respond, react, and keep up, it's all meant to keep your nervous system dysregulated. And the more dysregulated you are, the harder it is to hear God, to trust yourself, and to move in alignment. Think about it. When people are anxious, reactive, and overwhelmed, they're easier to control. They're easier to sell to, manipulate, and keep stuck. And the more we live in that constant state of stress, the harder it becomes to hear God clearly, make aligned decisions, and trust ourselves. Psalms 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." But let's be real. How can you be still when your nervous system just won't let you? How can you operate in faith when your body is stuck in a cycle of fear and overwhelm and distrust? You are trying to keep your faith, but everything is like, react to this, do this now. And in the meantime, your cells are crying out for the oxygen they need to survive. This isn't just about mindset. This is about your entire system, your mind, your body, and your energy being hijacked by chaos. And if you don't know how to regulate your nervous system, you'll find yourself making fear-based decisions, shrinking back, and staying stuck in cycles and being stuck in cycles that were never meant for you. So today we're going to talk about how to recognize when your nervous system is dysregulated, how your human design plays into this, and more importantly, how to shift back into alignment so you can move with clarity, confidence, and peace. Because here's the thing, and I stand on the hill on this. God didn't design you to live in survival mode. So let's go ahead and talk about it. I'm your host, Kim McCarter. Now, I'm going to give you a heads up. This is all about the raw, the real, and the radical. I'm going to be your guide, your coach, and the voice in your ear, reminding you that, baby, you got this.
Yeah.
One of the top questions I have been asked whenever I talk about this is, how do you know when your nervous system is dysregulated? A lot of people think stress is just a mental thing, but it's actually a full body experience. And if you don't know how to recognize it, you'll stay stuck in a cycle that keeps you from alignment, clarity, and divine instruction. The other thing that is really bad about stress is that because people are so used to living stressful lives where they're always on the go, they don't even realize that they are living in a constant state of dysregulation until their body and their mind and their emotions are at ease. And then they have the audacity to start thinking like they're bored. Or worse yet, their cultural agreements and limiting beliefs will come back up and they start to think they're not doing enough because society has conditioned you that the only way for you to be successful is through the constant state of hard work. I want to take a second and pull this back to my own experience because I didn't always know how to recognize when I was out of alignment. I found human design during one of the hardest seasons of my life. I was in a mindset crisis that had me questioning everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. Here I was with an amazing business that was making tons of money, and I was completely dissatisfied. And in my dissatisfaction, I knew that something was wrong because how could I have all of this and still feel like it's not enough? And that's when I realized that I needed to get more help. And in the process of getting that help, I found out that my dissatisfaction was tied to unfulfillment. And that put me into a bigger spiral because I was doing better than so many people that I knew. So the idea to be dissatisfied or unfulfilled felt a little selfish, if I'm being honest. And I started to realize that I was in a cultural agreement that was tied to survivor's remorse. Cultural agreements are the unspoken code of conducts, the beliefs that we have that are passed down through generations, and they're based on lived experiences. To be the one who made it out, to be the first to graduate from college, to own a house, to have the marriage. A lot of people are the first in their family. And with that first, especially if you are someone who grew up in an urban area or what's commonly known as the hood, and you escape that environment, we are raised under a few guidelines. One, you don't forget where you come from. Two, you take care of everybody back home. And three, you always make sure that you are available and present. And when you step out of any of these things, they'll remind you not to burn your bridges, not to get too big for your bridges, not to get too conceited, and they'll throw in your face that you changed. And the truth is, you have changed, and you were supposed to, because you were supposed to evolve. When I was in my mindset crisis, I had the tools, I had the knowledge, and something still fell off. And what I realized is I was trying to build success without understanding how I was uniquely designed to move. Human design wasn't just a business tool for me. It became a mirror that helped me see where I was forcing instead of flowing. And when I integrated that with faith and nervous system awareness, everything shifted for me. Now, let me fast forward to today. Just this morning, I was in Bible study and I kept getting distracted, like ridiculously distracted. And at first I brushed it off, but then I caught myself. Why am I struggling to stay focused on something that normally comes easy for me? And I realized I was doom scrolling. I kept checking my phone for updates on the helicopter and plane crash in Washington, D.C. I was getting pulled into fear, urgency, and distraction. And when I stepped back, I saw it clearly. This was designed to pull me away from what I needed to focus on. This was designed to keep me in a nervous system response instead of in the word. This was designed to knock me out of alignment. And that's the awareness I want to help you develop today, because if you can't recognize when your peace is being hijacked, you will be stuck in chaos. So let's check in. If any of these sound familiar, your nervous system might be overloaded. You feel anxious or restless even when nothing is actually wrong. You keep doom scrolling, absorbing bad news, even though it drains you. You struggle to be still, always feeling like you should be doing something. Your sleep is off, your digestion is off, or your body feels tense. You find yourself operating from fear instead of faith, making reactive decisions instead of aligned ones. This is bigger than just feeling stressed. This is about your ability to hear God, because God speaks in peace. And if your nervous system is stuck in fight or flight, you are not in a place to receive divine instruction. You might be praying for clarity, but your mind is too cluttered to receive it. You might be asking for direction, but your body is too tense to move with peace. And this is why faith, energetics, and human design work together. The way we experience stress isn't the same for everyone. And this is something I wish I had known so much earlier, because for years I was trying to move like someone I wasn't designed to be. Understanding your unique energy allows you to move in flow, not force. And when you combine that with faith and nervous system awareness, you stop reacting to life and start leading in alignment. We are not created to live in constant stress. You were not designed to be stuck in survival mode, operating in fear, or constantly feeling like you are on edge. So the question becomes, like, how do we shift? How do you regulate your nervous system so you can move from reactive to aligned, from anxious to peace, from chaotic to divinely guided? And here's what most people get wrong. They think regulation is just about doing some deep breaths, taking a walk, or maybe doing a little prayer. And while those things help, they're not enough if you don't know what actually works for you. This is why I tell people you need to know your energetic blueprint. A lot of advice is generic, is based on what works for the masses, but you are not the masses. And let me tell you from my own experience, when you try to regulate like someone you're not, you will stay stuck in the same cycles. I had to learn this the hard way. For the longest time, I thought I had to sit still and meditate to calm down. That's what everyone said to do. Be still, focus on your breath, empty your mind. Well, guess what? That didn't work for me. In fact, it made me even more restless because my energetic blueprint requires me to process through movement. I need to physically shift my body, whether that's stretching or walking, or even just getting up from my desk and changing my environment. That's what my system needs to reset. For example, I decided to record this episode totally impromptu. I set up my little recording station on a TV tray in my living room because my home office just feels too closed in for me right now. I'm in a season where I am operating in flow in my living room. And now that I think about that, that tends to happen for me every winter. And in the summer, I tend to shift back into my office. But that's another episode for another day. Let me get back on track. Here's what I'm trying to get at. I know for a fact that what works for me may not work for you. So if you've been trying the go-to advice for nervous system regulation and you still feel stuck, it's not you, it's the method. That's why I created the energetic blueprints, because you don't need more generic advice. You need a personalized strategy for peace, something tailored to your soul, your energy, and how you were designed to function at the highest level. So accessing your energetic blueprint, which is designed based on the human design chart, but integrates faith and nervous system awareness while allowing you to move through your life and your business where your goals can be equally yoked, allowing you to expand your capacity and really go after bigger, bolder goals. I want to give you some key ways to regulate your nervous system, but before you just try to do them all, I want you to pay attention to what resonates. Because when you work with your energetic blueprint, the goal is to find what works for you, not just what sounds good, okay? So the first tool is breath work, and that's just slowing down in the chaos. When life gets overwhelming, it feels like your heart is racing, your thoughts are spiraling, and you don't know what to do next. All you have to do is pause. This is why I say it's important to understand the energetic blueprint and what works for your body. Because I don't necessarily get the feeling of anxiousness where I feel like my heart is racing. It's like I should be working on something and I get distracted. And that's how I know that something is off. This is where you want to take a deep breath in for a few seconds, hold for 4 seconds, and exhale for 4 seconds. Here's an example. In for 4 seconds. Hold. Out. In. Hold. Out. In just doing that 2 times, I already feel a difference in my body. So imagine if you did it for 3 times, 4 times, or 5 times. Your body starts to shift. Because when you control your breath, you send a signal to your nervous system that you are safe. When your body feels safe, you begin to hear God more clearly. So the next thing you want to do is ground yourself. And I'm laughing because we know that on social media, people will be quick to type, go outside and touch some grass. But sis, you need to literally go outside and touch some grass, okay? Grounding is about reconnecting with God's creation, getting out of your head and into the present moment. Now, I live in the northeast part of the United States. It's cold outside. Most of us probably have some dead grass right now, or it might be icy or snowy. But I actually live in a space with a lot of plants. I am a plant mom, so when I need to ground myself, I get up and I just start taking care of my plants. That is a way for me to ground myself. Sometimes you have to simulate your environments, especially in the wintertime. I was really intentional during the pandemic to create spaces in my home that reminded me of my favorite travel experiences. And when I said I did everything from the front door all the way to the back door, I absolutely absolutely did, because it was important to me to make sure that I could feel safe in this environment. Prior to the pandemic, I was someone who was going on an international trip once a quarter. I was constantly taking staycations and traveling. So even though I enjoyed being home, I had to make sure that I could bring those experiences into my home. So you have to understand, what's that going to look like for you. You may want to take a barefoot walk outside, laying in the sun, soaking in the warmth, or holding onto a tree and sitting on the ground. And I know so many people love to dismiss things because they start questioning, how does this align with their faith? And one of the questions I ask you to answer is, why do you think Jesus went to the mountains, to the gardens, or to the water to pray? Because nature naturally resets your energy. The third thing is somatic prayer and movement. This is worship as regulation, okay? Now, this one right here, it changed everything for me. I used to think prayer was just about sitting still, bowing my head, and talking to God. And while that's one form of prayer, I realized that prayer can be embodied. Some of the most powerful moments I've had with God have been while moving, stretching while praying, lifting my hands in worship, rocking side to side while meditating on a scripture. Because when you combine faith with movement, you integrate peace into your body, not just into your mind. And many of us have been to churches where we see, like, our praise and worship teams, or we see our dance teams doing just that. Another one is lying prostrate before God and being in full surrender. Like, this is a biblical practice that most people don't talk about when it comes to regulation. But if you've ever been in deep prayer, deep worship, deep surrender, you know there is something about laying face down before God that shifts your entire spirit. When you lay prostrate, you're saying, I don't have to carry this. I am safe in his presence. I am surrendering control. And if you've been in a season of trying to control everything, this practice will bring you back to center. Now, the next one is scripture-based affirmations, and this is rewiring fear into faith. The nervous system responds to words. When you constantly hear fear-based messages, you start to internalize them. So one of the best ways to regulate your system is to feed your mind with truth. So here are some of my favorites. God has not given me the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and sound mind. That's based on 2 Timothy 1:7. I will keep in perfect peace with those whose minds are steadfast because they trust in me. Isaiah 26:3. Come to me, all you weary, and I will give you rest. Matthew 11:28. When you speak these over yourself, you actually shift your internal environment from fear to faith. And just to add to that, I actually did a 21-day fast with Pastor Mike McClure Jr. in Rock City Church. And when we broke that fast on Saturday, he sent us over the types of prayer. So today, when I realized I was getting distracted, I actually took out the types of prayer, and I actually just went over the one that he talked about that was called adoration, which is the worship prayer. And this is where you focus on praising and worshiping God for who he is. And his example that Pastor Mike gave was, God, you are holy, sovereign, and full of grace. I honor you in this greatness. And the biblical reference that he assigned to it was Psalms 95:6. Come, let us bow down and worship. Let us kneel before the Lord, our maker. And when I actually took that and I used it to regulate my nervous system, it really did allow me to bring everything back to center. And one of the reasons I think that it was actually able to do that is because I was also thinking about worshiping God, but also in that worship of God, I was asking for peace. I was asking for clarity. I was asking to be reminded of why I'm doing this, right? And part of that is because I am in my year of wisdom. And in my year of wisdom, I am centering everything around my anchor question of the year. How am I developing my relationship with God in such a way that I am living how he designed me to be? And that means understanding what it means to step into my power, but also understanding what it means to be equal equally yoked across my goals. I teach something called the fulfillment factor. And the fulfillment factor reminds us that there are 7 areas of life, and we have to make sure that when we are goal setting and planning, we are creating goals across those 7 areas and they make sense for each other while also honoring our integrity, helping us build wisdom and discipline. And those 7 areas are faith, fitness, fun, family, friendship, finance, and forward movement. Those 7 areas are in that order for a reason because they allow us to remember that we need to keep God as our foundation. We have to take care of ourselves, mind, body, and soul before we pour into others and chase after goals. So that way we are always pouring from our overflow. We are pouring from our abundance and we are not pouring from empty cups. Now, if I had to pick just one tool that regulates my nervous system the fastest, it's EFT tapping. EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Techniques, and it's basically a way to release stress, fear, and anxiety by tapping on acupuncture points while speaking affirmations. And what makes EFT so powerful is that it doesn't just calm you down, it actually rewires your nervous system. It helps your body realize you are safe, you are grounded, you don't have to react in fear. Now, for me, EFT has become a daily practice, but if I'm ever doing it to rewire my nervous system, I'm looking for a sign that I am feeling anxious or overwhelmed or like my energy is off, and I just take a minute and I tap on key points. So the key points are going to be the side of your hand like a karate chop, the top of your head, your eyebrow, the side of your eye, under your nose, your chin, your collarbone, and under your arm. And what you want to do is you want to make sure that you are hitting the points that are going to allow you to just really ground yourself in the moment. So you want to start by hitting your karate chop. And it doesn't matter if you're doing right over left or left over right, but you just want to hit that karate chop. You want to, and you don't want to karate chop slow. You want to do it like in a fast pace, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like get that karate chop going. And as you're karate chopping, you're saying, even though I feel anxious right now, I deeply love and trust myself. Even though I feel anxious right now, I deeply love and trust myself. Even though I feel anxious right now, I deeply love and trust myself. Top of the head. I am safe. I am supported. I am safe. I am supported. I am safe. I am supported. Eyebrow. I release this fear. 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 Side of the eye. God has not given me the spirit of fear. God has not given me the spirit of fear. God has not given me the spirit of fear. Under the eye. I am divinely protected. I am divinely protected. I am divinely protected. Under the nose. I trust God's timing. I trust God's timing. I trust God's timing. The chin, I am grounded and at peace. I am grounded and at peace. I am grounded and at peace. Collarbone, I choose faith over fear. I choose faith over fear. I choose faith over fear. Under the arm, I release anything that is not mine to carry. I release anything that is not mine to carry. I release anything that is not mine to carry. And by the time I finish a round of tapping, I can start to see my energy shift. And I will just go back through and keep doing it round after round after round until I know I feel safe, I feel supported, I feel grounded. And you notice that as you go through each point, I always hit them 3 times. That's just the way that I was taught, because it just really allows your brain a chance to go, okay, I'm getting it, I'm getting it, I'm getting it. You will notice that your heart rate will start to slow down, your mind will clear, and you will start to feel back in your body. And that's the thing. Regulation isn't just about calming down, it's about teaching your nervous system how to operate from peace as a default and not chaos. When all of these practices come together, we understand how powerful these practices can be, but the key is knowing what actually works for you. This is why I always tell my clients, don't just follow what everyone else is doing. Get into your energetic blueprint and find out, what does your body need to reset? What actually brings you peace? How do you regulate best? Because when you stop trying to regulate like everyone else and you start moving in alignment with how you're designed, that's when things start to shift. If you are ready to get that clarity, that's exactly why I created the energetic blueprint. At the core of all of this, faith, nervous system regulation, and alignment, it all comes back to soul care. Because the reality is, you can do all the breath work, all the affirmations, all of the movement, but if you're not actively caring for your soul, you will always find yourself coming back to the same cycles. And this is something I learned firsthand. I started developing energetic KPIs because I realized the way we measure success in business doesn't take into account how we actually feel. So we're so used to tracking revenue, sales calls, books, audience growth, but what about your energy? Right? I'm like, if I could do this in one area, I could do it in another. Because listen, I don't care how much money you make. If your nervous system is shot, if your peace is gone, if you're running on fumes, are you really successful? I can tell you firsthand, no, you're not. I went through that. Girl, I've been there. I've been there. Like, you're not. I had to redefine what success actually looks like. So I started tracking my energetic KPIs. Key performance indicators for my well-being. I started asking myself, did I wake up feeling grounded and clear today? Do I feel excited and flow in my work? Was I operating for trust, or was I moving out of pressure? Did I honor my nervous system, my boundaries, my peace? And what I realized, when my energetic KPIs are off, my results are off too. This is where the energetic manifestation plan comes in. If you're in self-made success system, you already have access to this, because manifestation isn't just about visualizing success. It's about becoming the version of you who naturally attracts the success that you desire. And that version of you, she doesn't live in survival mode. She isn't constantly overthinking, overworking, and ignoring the signs that her body and spirit are out of alignment. She knows when her energy is off. She knows how to course correct before it spirals into burnout and doubt and misalignment. This is exactly why I talk so much about building habits that keep you in alignment. This year, I'm in a deep faith journey, what I call my year of wisdom. And let me tell you, wisdom is different from knowledge. Knowledge is knowing something. Wisdom is living it. And what I've learned is that when you are building habits, you're not just building routines, you're building an internal system that helps you recognize when you're out of alignment. That's how I was actually able to catch my nervous system being off so early. That's why I knew the doom scrolling was knocking me off my pillar, because I built a habit of being in alignment. So the moment something fell off, I could recognize it and I could course correct. And I want that for you, because when you build habits that keep you aligned, you don't recover from stress. You prevent it from taking over in the first place. Listen, if this episode resonated with you, if you're sitting here like, wow, I need to start tracking my energetic KPIs, I need a framework for alignment, I need to start building habits that actually support my soul, then I have two ways for you to go deeper. Your energetic blueprint. This is your personalized guide to alignment, not just based on your human design type, but your unique energy. So you know exactly how to reset, how to create, and how to move in a way that actually works for you. Then I have Magic in Business. This is a mindset course that teaches you how to integrate faith, energetics, and strategy so you can create success in a way that feels powerful, ease-filled, and completely aligned with who you are. I bundled these up for you, and you can grab both using the link below. And of course, come hang out with me on Instagram. My handle is Miss Kim McCarter, because I am always having these conversations over there. I want to leave you with this. Your energy is your greatest asset. When you learn how to regulate, how to align, and how to create habits that protect your peace, you will no longer feel like life is happening to you. You'll know that you're co-creating with God every step of the way. And that is real success. Until next time, stay in alignment, protect your peace, and trust that what's meant for you is already on its way.
Yeah.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of Big Profit Energy. I want you to remember, your power and success are in your hands. Keep channeling your main character energy, and don't forget to manifest your dreams into reality. Until next time, stay empowered, stay inspired, and keep igniting that big profit energy. Be sure to hit subscribe for more, and let's keep this energy flowing. I'll see you on the next episode of Big Profit Energy.